Resident Evil.
Previously on Revelations 2, someone left a message.
Welcome to the Kierling, where all things come to an end.
I not know this thing you are speaking.
I'm just learning to see a little more clearly.
I did what I thought was right.
We'll know each other inside and out.
You killed her.
I'm sorry, I was just a bad daughter.
The old sack is gonna pay for what you did.
I'll crush you with my bare hands.
You're perfect. Six months from now, you're going to awaken as me. And the world is going to be very afraid. So good night, my darling. Sleep well. All this time wasted. My whole life has been a prelude to this. My true birth.
Time to meet the cause of our misery.
What is this place?
Doesn't matter. Let's find the Overseer.
What is this? Look at the video feeds. We've been through most of these areas.
And she's been watching our every step. That sluice changed the direction of the water.
Yeah, but where? I don't recognize the place. What do you make of it?
I don't know. I just can't figure the Overseer out.
What is this? What is this?
All right, we're through. Let's hurry. We meet at last.
You came all this way just to say goodbye? Oh, I'm touched. It's already done. I've conquered fear and earned the right to become a god.
Come out from behind that glass so I can choke a god.
All that remains is one final test. One last threshold to cross.
Is she even listening to us?
My brother's escape was death. And soon, it will be mine as well. I will share in his fate, and then I will surpass him.
What are you trying to do?
Escape.
Just like that.
Warning. Confidentiality protocols initiated. Self-destruct sequence of the facility's upper spire will begin immediately. If you are currently situated in an affected area, please remain calm.
We need to get out of here! And let all the answers die with her? Fine. Back to the elevator! Hurry! There's a passage down below. Find another route. You're right. I can't see it. There's something in here. Just keep your eyes peeled and go!
Protocol A.
Claire, open your eyes. Claire, wake up! Claire.
Barry.
What happened to Moira? Was Moira with you?
Barry. Oh, God. I'm so sorry. I tried to save her. I should have.
No. Moira. Why, baby? Moira. Natalia? Are you okay? Hey, what happened? Natalia, sweetie, where's Wesker?
She went somewhere else.
Oh, okay. Well, what matters is that you're safe. Wherever she went, we could still catch her.
You're not hurt, are you?
No, I just got the wind knocked out of me. You know where Wesker went?
I think she's on the other side of the mountain.
All right. Then we better double back up the cliff.
That's a big sluice.
They use it to control the water flow.
What's that over there?
That building might be a way up. Let's start heading in that direction.
Stay there.
Gotcha.
There's something ahead. Be careful.
Follow me.
Right. Stay there.
Gotcha.
There's something ahead. Be careful. There's something ahead. Be careful. There's a strange bug.
Follow me!
Right.
Just stay there!
Okay.
Just stay there.
Okay. The monster's coming.
Follow me.
Right. This thing is huge.
It's like one of those cranes you see in junkyards. Into the road. We'll have to climb up the crane.
It's a long way down.
Well, it looks ready to collapse, but I think we can still cross.
Wow, you're really high up.
That's right. Top of the world. Almost there, honey. You gonna make it?
I'm trying.
Just stay there.
Okay.
Follow me! This must be the way into the mine.
Barry, there's a facility down below. I think that's where we'll find her.
Is your memory coming back?
It's hard to describe. I don't remember this place, but it feels like I've been here.
Well, it's okay. These things take time. Don't push yourself. Half a year of chasing scraps. I won't stop until I have all the answers.
Strange bug. Stay there.
Gotcha. Follow me.
Right.
Going down.
You will die, child.
It's coming from the bracelet.
The past will catch up with you, false one. And that is when you will die.
That's the She-Wesker, all right. Don't you worry. Together, we're stronger than her. Gas. You'd better stay here, sweetie.
No way. I'm going with you.
Are you sure you're up to it? All right. Hold your breath as long as you can. You don't want this crap in your lungs.
Okay.
Just stay there.
Okay.
just goes down and down.
That's where she is.
Let's look for a way down. Just stay there.
Okay.
Follow me.
Right.
Let's hang on to this key. You never know when we might run into a lock. That's a ventilation system. If we can get it working, it might clear out the gas for us. Just stay there. me!
Strange bug.
Just stay there.
Okay. Come with me!
Just stay there.
Okay.
It worked. We can get through now. This elevator might be our ticket down. Why does Wesker have it in for you?
I don't know. I only talked to her for a little while before I got really sleepy.
And I guess the answers will have to come from her. That's one nasty bowl of soup.
No record located.
It need...
Record located. Access granted.
Natalia, how did you...
I don't know.
You've talked enough, old woman.
Barry!
Nice place to set up house.
It's like a movie. I wish I could live here.
Speak for yourself. I've had my fill of mansions. T. Phobos. What was she trying to accomplish?
Come with me!
Coming! It's those things. Shit!
Strange bug.
figured she would have gotten her hands on Ouroboros, too.
It's getting closer! The monster's coming! It's getting closer!
Just stay there!
Okay!
Just stay there.
Okay.
Yeah! Great! My lucky day! Follow me.
Right.
Just stay there.
Okay.
Follow me.
Right.
You must be exhausted, Natalia. Need a break?
I'm okay, Barry. Thanks anyway.
Just stay there.
Okay.
Just stay there.
Okay. Barry! A bunch of them are closing in on us!
Emergency. Emergency. Abnormal virus levels detected. Quarantine procedures
The
activated.
monster's coming!
Locking all doors down. Elevators will remain disabled until the threat has subsided.
Just a little longer. Hang in there.
Emergency. Emergency. Abnormal virus levels detected. Emergency. Emergency. Abnormal virus levels detected. Quarantine procedures activated. Locking all doors down. Elevators will remain disabled until the threat has subsided. Threat eliminated. Unlocking all doors.
Follow me!
Right!
All right, get in!
This song.
You know it?
I know I don't like it. What did you do to her? Lottie was my friend!
Why, Alex? What have you got against her?
You reject what was given to you. You reject your memories. False. True or false? True or false? True or false?
I can still destroy you. I have to destroy you.
Wesker! Oh, no, you didn't.
I understand how you felt now, Albert. It's not enough to live. I want to transcend.
Holy fuck. much! Follow me. Moira!
You did all this for me?
Yeah. Sorry it took half a year. Fucking technology.
Fuck it right up the ass. Here! Run to the ladder!
Come on!
Oversee this, bitch. Fuck yeah! Moira, I'm so sorry. You were in trouble. And you came back with a chopper and a sniper rifle, and that's fucking awesome, so shut up!
Let me take care of this.
Are you sure you don't need me, Barry? I mean, Dad.
I'll always need you. But for now, I have this.
I'll cover you from the chopper!
Come at me, she-Wesker!
Bring her closer! I'll try to pick her up!
I'm putting you and your goddamn family in the ground!
Stay away from her, Barry! I'll cover you!
Roger that! Don't miss!
Be careful, Barry!
Don't worry, sweetie! I'm not gonna leave you!
Don't you die on me, Dad! We've got a lot of catching up to do!
Tell me about it! Where's the big guy? Break that shit out!
I got it! Time to put an end to this! Hold on, you two! Things are gonna get bumpy!
Look, Moira. I know I should have let you have your space.
It's okay. I gave you plenty of reasons to worry.
You held your own out there, Moira.
Of course she did. She's a fucking Burton. Anyway, let's let these guys come in and clean up.
So, what are you gonna do now, Barry?
I'm gonna go back to being a father.
So, he's in China now?
However, at this time, we are unable to find
All right.
any connections to the wide-scale terror
Yeah.
attacks that occurred
Well, tell
in
Piers to look
China,
after him.
as well as the tragedy that befell the city of Tall Oaks earlier this week. Authorities are struggling to stem the panic that has taken hold of China. The UN anti-terrorist...
Dad, would you get your ass in gear? Claire will be here any minute.
Late last night, one of the BSA...
Well, excuse me.
is saying,
Hey, Polly, you see my jacket over there?
unpredictable.
Natalia, are you upstairs? Come on down and get ready.
A cage went in search of a bird. But now, the bird is gone. The bird has changed.
you